Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Chef Pudge. I am your host, Chef Pudge. The dish we are making today is Sloppy Joe Tater Tot Casserole. Thing is, with most of these recipes, I'm not the one coming up with them. My loving girlfriend is, and she put together this recipe for me based off of my own Sloppy Joe recipe, which we will go over how to make. So yeah, let's begin. Okay, I didn't do this last time, but I feel the need to... I'm going to clean off this lens real quick. That's a little better. I feel the need to go over the ingredients that we are going to be using. Pretty simple. We're going to use the rest of this tube meat, this last pound of tube meat. Of course, some tater tots. Actually, fun fact about tater tots is tater tots is actually like a copyrighted name for the Ore-Ida brand of potatoes. So even though that's what we basically universally refer to them as, no other business can use it. As you can see, these are called taters, seasoned shredded potatoes. But yeah, tater tots it's one of those things that like we refer to all bandages as Band-Aids and air fresheners as Febreze, and etc., etc. And then we are going to need the stuff to make our Sloppy Joe sauce. So what we have here is we got some ketchup, some brown sugar. This happens to be light brown sugar. You can use any brown sugar. It doesn't have to be light. We'll go over this first. This is some pepper hot mustard. When you go to make this sauce, I really don't recommend using anything but like a pepper mustard or a hot mustard, just because I don't think that with a traditional yellow mustard it will go as well. And then finally, this is Sweet Baby Ray's sweet and spicy sauce. That's just my preference. You can go with whatever barbecue sauce you like. So once we get to constructing everything, we'll go over the amounts, and I'll put the amounts that you use in the description below. But let's go ahead and get our stove started here. There we go. And then I am going to set this down real quick. Open up my tube meat. Hopefully I won't have to use any more of this tube meat in the future, but here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that in the skillet. Go to throw this away, and then grab a spatula, and we start breaking it up into smaller chunks so it will cook more. If you remember from the last video, this is what's left of the tube meat. It's about a pound, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't know, I didn't actually sit and measure it out. I just cut the tube into thirds. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and get this all separated out. But basically, you want to just brown your meat. So we'll meet back here once the meat is browned. Something I forgot to mention that we should probably do while we're browning the meat is add our seasonings. So I'm just going to go with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I'm again choosing to use this sriracha sauce just for the little bit of heat. So we'll go ahead and season that. you can really use whatever seasonings you want, and just make it taste good. That's really all you need to do. And we're gonna hit it with some pepper. That's good. And then finally some garlic powder. So I will go ahead and again, I'll meet you back here once the meat is fully browned. Okay, so the meat is brown. Something I forgot to fucking mention. You should be preheating your oven this whole time. Have it set to about 375. But now that the meat is browned, we are going to drain out the grease. Something I want to mention about browning the ground beef. It's okay if there's still a little bit of pink, because this is eventually going to go in the oven as well, so it'll give it a little more time to cook. Plus, like, a little bit of pink isn't going to kill you. So I am going to figure out how to do this. You want to be real careful not to lose any of your meat. Ideally, you would be doing this with 2 hands. But I am not. Okay, so meat's drained. Add that back to the thing. I'll leave that in the sink. Okay, so the next step is what we're going to want to do is I'm going to turn that down to low. Next up, you're going to want to combine your you want to make your sauce. So, ordinarily, what I would do is I'm going to turn. So ordinarily, when I make sloppy joes, I recommend for 2 pounds of meat using 1 cup of ketchup, 1/4 a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup of that mustard, and then about 1/4 of a cup of barbecue sauce. Really, I just kind of squirt it indiscriminately until it looks how I want it to. But this is 1 pound of meat. However, I'm still going to use the cup of barbecue sauce, the cup of ketchup, 1/4 a cup of barbecue mustard, brown sugar. Because this is going to be baking in the oven, so I don't want it to dry out. So I'm going to make it a little bit extra saucy. But if you're just want to make the sloppy joes on your own, for 1 pound of meat, I recommend doing halves of what I said for the 2 pounds. So let's get back here. We got our 1 cup measuring thing. Hold on. Make sure the ketchup is ready, so you don't get that ketchup pre-cum in there. And like, I'm not gonna smooth this out or anything like that, and make sure that I get like exactly 1 cup. Like, that's good. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna dump it in here. And now for the slightly more difficult. So, let's get action cam real quick. of the brown sugar. So basically I'm just sticking the scoop in there. Again, I'm not really worried about making sure it's exactly 1/4. You can if you want. These are just kind of my approximates. And then we want to add the mustard. Now what I recommend doing, again, follow this kind of at your own discretion. I recommend, let me turn this back on, mixing the ketchup, the mustard, and the brown sugar together first before adding the barbecue sauce. Now, the reason why I recommend this is because I just eyeball it. I mean, if you use 1/4 of a cup, by all means add it. But I like mixing this up, looking at the color consistency that it gets. And then I like adding the barbecue sauce. So I just, like I said, I just kind of eyeball it. I mean, that's probably more than 1/4 of a cup, but that's okay. To each their own. Just kind of mix this all up. Usually it doesn't look this saucy. Like I said, this is 2 pounds worth of ground beef sauce, but only on 1 pound. Give a little taste to your sauce, see if you like it. I do. And then finally, you want to get this down to a low heat. Cover it. And let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. By the way, get a glove before you do this, but I'm going to be stupid and just... So as you can see, the sauce is kind of thickened up a little bit. You know, kind of stuff like that. It's a little greasy because of the meat, but that's okay. We are going to add to the grease. So what you're going to want to do is get a clean casserole dish and then take some oil. Just lube up all around, even the sides and everything. You don't want anything to stick. You don't want to go too overboard with the lube. But you want to make sure everything's covered, so I'm just going to kind of... There we go. That might be a little bit too much, but oh well. And then you're going to come over here to the schmeat, and you're just going to slop that shit in there. Then, go back there. You want to kind of spread this around a little bit. Just make sure everything is nice and evenly spread out. Just kind of make sure everything's nice and coated. That looks good. And then you come over here and you get your tater tots. And I'm gonna sit this down for a second. and you accidentally spill some of your tater tots on the ground, and you have to throw them away. But essentially, man, you just wanna cover that shit. You want to make sure everything's like nice and properly covered. I might just do the whole bag. So I'm gonna set this here. Okay, I've allotted to use the whole bag. You don't have to, but you really want to make sure that kind of everything is nice and covered, and in a casserole dish this size, which is, I guess, kind of fairly standard, you can get it pretty even. And then the final thing that you need to do, I thought that I had already done this, but I want to get some cheese. And you would like to open the cheese. Sorry, I got to open the cheese. Need both hands. And so you get the cheese, and we just cover that shit. You want to use a lot of cheese. I like using a lot of cheese. I mean, you could. We'll say a little bit more. So that's probably good enough. So once your oven is preheated, again at 375, you want to open it up, and then take your casserole, put that shit in the oven. Then you want to bake it for about 35 to 45 minutes, or until the tater tots are crispy and the cheese is nice and brown. So I'll meet you back here. Okay, final step, pull it out of the oven. I've already done this because I needed two hands, but it should look something like this. And then we just want to take our and just kind of let's look at a under part of a piece here. It's hard to tell, but don't touch the pan. Ouch. So that is how you make Sloppy Joe Tater Tot Casserole. This would be great. Serve it with some cheese sauce, maybe some sour cream on it. Really kind of brighten it up a little bit. If that's the correct use of the word, I don't know. But yeah, hope you all enjoy it, and thank you for watching.